Good morning. Welcome to the Millionaire Book Club. My name is Pearlie Hunter. Side effects of tapping in with me every single morning do include personal development, mindset transformations, paradigm shifts, and the ability to think your way to success. So it is Monday morning. I'm super blessed and super grateful to be here for another day, another week to serve, to live in my purpose. Drop me something that you're grateful for in the chat. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for this day. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for my children. I'm grateful for my spouse. I'm grateful for peace of mind. I'm grateful for my parents. I'm grateful for my siblings. I'm grateful for all of my family. I'm grateful for my soul family, my in-laws. I'm grateful for everybody. I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for my work family. I'm grateful for my home is nice and cool in here. My children are sleeping peacefully. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for my discipline this morning. I woke up this morning easily and effortlessly. I told y'all last week, like coming off of that week of not doing book club all week, last week I was just having issues, like snapping back into my routine. But today it was totally different. It was just like I was a new, renewed person. Like I woke up happy, ready, excited, got through my routine easily and effortlessly. So drop me something that you're grateful for in the chat. If you watching this live, hi, I love you so much. If you go back and watch this replay, I love you as well. Definitely drop me something that you are grateful for. Let me know that you were here. Let me know that you watched this. Let me know that you were part of the book club, okay? I know everybody might not be able to make it like in the morning, but that is the purpose of the YouTube. So if you can't make the live, you can still get your reading done, okay? Reading is something that we all should be doing every single day, adding new ideas to our mind, new ideas to think from, right? And that helps us shift our paradigm when we learn these new things, when we take in this new information, okay, we are able to assess it and discern it and decide if it works for us, right? If it's something that we agree with, if it's something that could positively serve us. And with all of that, though, you have to be ready and willing to let go of the things that are not positively serving you. So a lot of this material that we read, it uncovers things, right, about ourselves, about our values, about the way we think, and it might not be the best thing that you want to hear, right? You don't want to hear that you've been doing ABC, but you need to be doing XYZ, right? People don't want to hear that, but that's a part of growth. That's a part of self-awareness, self-mastery, and that's what the Millionaire Book Club is all about, because wealth is a state of mind and a state of consciousness. It's not necessarily a dollar amount. Okay, it's wealthy people that are not happy, and it's happy people that are not wealthy. Okay, so Barb said, I am grateful for another day. I'm grateful for the goodness of God. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for God just confirming things, that he showed me things that I've put out in the universe. Okay, girl, those manifestations keeps confirming them. I am super grateful. I am so grateful for the Millionaire Book Club. I'm grateful. I am grateful too, Barb. Thank you so much for your support. I love Barb. She's been with me since the beginning, right? I got a few that I really love because they've been rocking with me this whole time. And I think that is awesome. I think that's phenomenal. Not just for me. It's definitely good for me, but it's good for you, right? Because you are evolving, you are transforming, you are growing, you are changing, you, right? I love that. So let's get the word read for the day. The daily word. Let's get our word read. And today is Monday, July 26th. Okay. So the daily word for today is let go and let God. I do what is mine to do and trust all will be well. Throughout my life, I have learned there is a time to work and a time to rest, just as there is a time to speak and a time to listen. I remember this truth if I find myself working relentlessly to make something happen. There is a time for me to step back and exercise the faith and patience needed to give my efforts time to manifest. I trust this orderly process and let go and let God. I stop my attempts to control life, knowing that the divine is the very essence of life. I believe my highest good is on the way to me. And this makes it easier for me to be patient and trusting. I do my part and then I relax, knowing the divine is in and through all things. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not rely on your own insight. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Okay. And that's Proverbs 3:5-6. Okay. Let go, let God. I do what is mine to do and trust that all will be well. Right. So letting go, releasing the need to know the date, the time, right? The how is irrelevant. You just state what you desire, the changes you would like to see made, and the how it happens is irrelevant, right? Because that's God's doing. Let go, let God. Let's pull us a card. This is the Four Agreements card deck by Dami Well Ruiz. He's gonna fall out on me now. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I'm gonna get better with these cards shifting. Okay, I be practicing. Okay, let's do this one. This one and this one. So this one says, don't take anything personally. Be immune to others' opinions. Be immune, right? Be immune to others' opinions. Don't even give it your time of day, your energy. You immune. You have a strong immune system, right? Other people's opinions do not define you. So it says, what others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Okay. And then this one says, don't make assumptions, eliminate gossip. Okay. Don't make assumptions, eliminate gossip. That little glare is funny. Okay. Making assumptions is a setup for suffering because usually we gossip about our assumptions. We make assumptions and believe we are right. Then we defend our assumptions and try to make others wrong. Okay. So both of these cards basically says something about suffering, right? So just protect your energy today. Protect your peace today. Don't let people get to you today. Don't give your power away, right? Don't allow somebody else's negativity or negative vibe to lower your positive frequency, okay? So, about to get the read started. So we are reading Think Like a Monk, of course, chapter 7. Chapter 7. This is by Mr. Jay Shetty. He be all over the net, so I know everybody should probably know who he is. He's all over the internet. He also has a Purpose podcast. It's called Purpose. It's really, really good. Okay. So chapter 7 is starting on page 145, and it's talking about the mind, okay? The mind. If I say something that resonates with you during this read, please drop an MOC in the chat. MOC basically means moment of clarity. It's my way to connect with the audience, to know that you are listening, to know that you're taking value from this, to know that, it's making sense to you. Moment of clarity. You getting some new ideas from the information that's being read, right? Some new ideas that you plan to use, that you plan to implement in your day-to-day life. Okay, so let's get started. The mind, the charioteer's dilemma. When the five senses and the mind are stilled, when the reasoning intellect rests in silence, then begins the highest path. Okay, so that sounds like meditation. When the five senses and the mind are stilled, when the reasoning intellect rests in silence, then begins the highest path. Okay. It is raining, though it's September, and monsoon season is over. It's coming down hard. I really need a shower before morning meditation. About 100 of my fellow monks and I arrived here in South India last night after a 2-day train ride from Mumbai. We had the cheapest tickets available. Of course, sleeping in close quarters with strangers, and the bathrooms were so foul that I decided to fast for the entire trip in order to avoid them. We are on a pilgrimage, staying in a warehouse-type building near the seashore. After morning meditation, we will go straight to classes. So now is my best chance to shower. I ask for directions to the shower, and someone points to a wet, muddy dirt pathway through the low shrubs. It's about a 20-minute walk, he says. I look down at my flip-flops. Great. My feet will get even dirtier on the way to the shower than they are right now. What's the point? Then another voice comes into my head. Don't be lazy. You have to get ready for morning meditation. Just go take the shower. I duck my head and start down the path. Squelching through the mud, I try not to slip. Every step is unpleasant, not just because of the conditions, but because the first voice in my head keeps discouraging me, saying, see, you're getting muddy on your way to the showers, and you'll get dirty again on the way back. The other voice urges me onward. You are doing the right thing. Honor your commitment. Finally, I reach the showers of a row of white stalls. I open the door to one and look up. Rain pours down from the still dark sky. There is no roof. Seriously? I step into the stall and don't even bother to turn on the faucet. We bathe in cold water anyway. And that's exactly what the rain is delivering. Standing in the shower, I wonder what the hell I am doing here. And this miserable excuse for a shower, on that filthy train yesterday, on this trip, living this life? I could be dry and warm in a nice apartment in London right now, making 50,000 pounds a year. Life could be so much easier. But as I walk back, the other voice returns with some interesting ideas about the value of what I've just accomplished. Going to the shower in the rain wasn't a notable achievement. It didn't require physical strength or bravery, but it tested my ability to tolerate external difficulties. It gave me an idea of how much frustration I could handle in one morning. It may not have cleansed or refreshed me, but it did something more valuable. It strengthened my resolve. The monkey mind. In the Hitopadesa, an ancient Indian text by Narayana, the mind is compared to a drunken monkey that's been bitten by a scorpion and haunted by a ghost. We humans have roughly 70,000 separate thoughts each day. Ernest Poppel, a German psychologist and neuroscientist, has shown through his research that our minds are only in present time for about 3 seconds at a time. Other than that, our brains are thinking forward and backward, filling in ideas about present time based on what we've experienced in the past and anticipating what is to come. As Lisa Feldman Barrett, author of How Emotions Are Made, describes it on a podcast, most of the time, your brain is not reacting to events in the world. It's predicting, constantly guessing what's going to happen next. The Samyutta Nikaya describes each thought as a branch and our minds as monkeys, swinging from one branch to the next, often aimlessly. This almost sounds like fun, but as we all know, it is anything but. Usually, those thoughts are fears, concerns, negativity, and stress. What will happen this week at work? What should I eat for dinner? Have I saved enough for a holiday this year? Why is my date 5 minutes late? Why am I here? These are all genuine questions that deserve answers, but none of them will be resolved while we swing from branch to branch, thought to thought. Okay? This is the jungle of the untrained mind. Okay? I like that. The untrained mind. Because we have trained minds, but we did have untrained minds, right? So that is why you can, on this journey, you can meet people where they are, have compassion for everybody, where they are on their journey, right? Because we all started from untrained and moved ourselves towards that other side, right? By what we learned, by the thoughts we changed, by the feelings that we projected out into the universe. Being responsible for our energetic output. The Dhammapada is a collection of verses probably collected by Buddha's disciples. In it, the Buddha says, as irrigators lead water where they want, as archers make their arrows straight, as carpenters carve wood, the wise shape their minds. True growth requires understanding the mind. It is the filter, judge, and director of all our experiences. But as evidenced by the conflict I felt on my shower adventure, we are not always of one mind. The more we can evaluate, understand, train, and strengthen our relationship with the mind, the more successfully we navigate our lives and overcome challenges. Okay, I'm going to read that one again. Good morning, Michi. Hi, Queen. Good morning. Okay, she just made me so happy. That's my girl. Okay, the more we can evaluate, understand, train, and strengthen our relationship with the mind, the more successfully we navigate our lives and overcome challenges. Okay, this battle in our mind is waged over the smallest daily choices. Do I have to get up right now? And the biggest, should I end this relationship? Okay. All of us face such battles every single day. A senior monk once told me an old Cherokee story about these dilemmas, which all of us agonize over. An elder tells his grandson, every choice in life is a battle between two wolves inside us. Okay, every choice in life is a battle between two wolves inside us. One represents anger, envy, greed, fear, lies, insecurity, and ego. Okay, those are low frequencies, low vibrations, right? The other represents peace, love, compassion, kindness, humility, and positivity. Okay, some high vibrations, some high frequencies. They are competing for supremacy within your mind, right? They are competing. That's basically just like saying the ego and the subconscious mind, right? They are competing for supremacy. Which wolf wins? The grandson asks. This is good. Which one wins? The grandson asks. The one you feed, the elder replies. So how much sense does that make? Right? You turn into what you tune into. The one you feed is the one that will win. It makes so much sense. But how do we feed them? I asked my teacher. The monk said, by what we read and hear, by who we spend time with, by what we do with our time, by where we focus our energy and attention. The Bhagavad Gita states, for him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his very mind will be the greatest enemy. Okay? The word enemy may seem too strong to describe the voice of dissent in your head, but the definition rings true. An enemy, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, is a person who is actively opposed or hostile to someone or something. and a thing that harms or weakens something. Sometimes our own minds work against us. They convince us to do something, then make us feel guilty or bad about it, often because it's gone against our values or morals. A pair of researchers from Princeton University and the University of Waterloo have shown that the weight of a bad decision isn't just metaphorical. Okay? The weight of a bad decision isn't just metaphorical. They asked study participants to remember a time they'd done something unethical, then asked them to rate their perception of their body weight. People who've been asked to recall an unethical action said they felt physically heavier than those who've been asked to recall a neutral memory. Other times we want to focus on something: a project at work, an artistic endeavor, a home repair, a new hobby. And our minds just won't let us get around to it. When we procrastinate, there's a conflict between what researchers call our should self, or what we feel we should do because it's good for us, and our want self, what we actually want to do in the moment. Okay? Our should self and our want self. I should do this, but I want to do this, right? Which one do we feed? Our shoulds or our wants? Okay? I know I should get started on that business proposal, but I want to watch the US Open quarterfinals. Before I became a monk, my own mind stopped me from doing what I loved because it was too risky. It allowed me to consume a chocolate bar and a liter of soda daily, even though I wanted to be healthy. Whew, this is gonna make us have to change some stuff, right? I just ate me some chips yesterday. I found some hot popcorn with cheese, and I was like so in love. But I do want to be healthy as well. This is so crazy. It allowed me to consume a chocolate bar and a liter of soda daily, even though I wanted to be healthy. It made me compare myself to other people instead of concentrating on my own growth. I blocked myself from reaching out to people I had hurt because I did not want to appear weaker. I allowed myself to be angry at people I loved because I cared more about being right than being kind. In the introduction to his translation of the Dhammapada, Eknath Easwaran writes that in our everyday swirl of thoughts, we have no more idea of what life is really like than a chicken has before it hatches. Excitement and depression, fortune and misfortune, pleasure and pain are storms in a tiny, private, shell-bound realm which we take to be the whole of existence. Okay? It makes sense then that when the Buddha finally reached the realm utterly beyond the reach of thought, he described feeling like a chick breaking out of its shell. At the ashram, I learned something that has been crucial in curbing these dangerous, self-destructive thoughts. Our thoughts are like clouds passing by. The self, like the sun, is always there. We are not our minds, right? We are not our minds, but we have the ability to master our minds. We don't have to let our thoughts get on top of us. We can be in control of our thoughts, right? And that is the part where you are not allowing the outside circumstances to affect the internal peace. Once you gain that peace within, once you can look in the mirror and you happy with you, it don't matter what's going on around you, right? Nothing should change until you change, right? Okay, the parent and the child. As my teachers explained, visualizing the mind as a separate entity helps us work on our relationships with it. We can think of the interaction as making a friend or negotiating peace with an enemy. As in any interaction, the quality of our communication with the mind is based on the history of our relationship with it. Are we hot-headed, combatants, or stubborn and unwilling to engage? Do we have the same arguments over and over again, or do we listen and compromise? Most of us don't know the history of this internal relationship because we've never taken the time to reflect on it. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Mary Jane. I think I know who that is. Hey, girl. Okay. The monkey mind is a child and the monk mind is an adult. Right? The monkey mind is a child and the monk mind is an adult. A child cries when it doesn't get what it wants, ignoring what it already has. A child struggles to appreciate real value. It would happily trade a stock certificate for some candy. When something challenges us in some way, the childlike mind reacts immediately. Maybe you feel insulted and make a sour face, or you start defending yourself, right? A conditioned automatic reaction like this is ideal if someone pulls out a knife. You feel scared and you bolt. But it's not ideal if we're being emotionally defensive because someone has said something we don't want to hear. Okay? We don't want to be controlled by automatic reactions in every case, nor do we want to eliminate the child mind altogether. The child mind enables us to be spontaneous, creative, and dynamic, all invaluable qualities, but when it rules us, it can be our downfall. Okay? The impulsive, desire-driven child mind is tempered by the judicious, pragmatic adult mind, which says, that's not good for you, or wait until later. The adult mind reminds us to pause and assesses the bigger picture, taking time to weigh the default reaction, decide if it's appropriate, and propose other options, right? So with the adult mind, you are able to respond and not react. With the monkey mind, right, or the stubborn mind, or the immature mind, you react at anything. Anybody can say anything to push your button, right? You real easily triggered. Okay? The intelligent parent knows what the child needs versus what it wants and can decide what is better for it in the long term. Okay? Framing inner conflict this way, parent and child, suggests that when the childlike mind is fully in control, it's because our monk mind has not been developed, strengthened, or heard. Okay? The child gets frustrated, throws tantrums, and we quickly give in to it. Then we get mad at ourselves. Why am I doing this? What is wrong with me? The parent is the smarter voice. If well-trained, it has self-control, reasoning power, and is a debating champ. But it can only use the strength that we give it. It's weaker when tired, hungry, or ignored. Okay? When the parent isn't supervising, the child climbs on the counter near the hot stove to get to the cookie jar, and trouble follows. On the other hand, if the parent is too controlling, the child gets bitter, resentful, and risk averse. As with all parent-child relationships, striking the right balance is an ongoing challenge. This, then, is the first step to understanding our minds. Simply becoming aware of the different voices inside of us. Okay? Starting to differentiate what you're hearing will immediately help you make better decisions. Okay? Ooh, I like that. I like how he compared it to like child and adult. I like how he compared basically the immature mind, the monkey mind, and the monk mind, right? And the monk mind is more developed, right? Like he said, it's strengthened, it's developed, it's able to reason, it's not irrational, it's not just reacting, it's responding, it's thinking, right? It's leading with intention, not just out here doing whatever, right? I love that. Because, you know, we might be around a lot of people who still have monkey minds, right? And so we have to know how to protect our energy around these people, protect our peace around these people, because it's not their fault. They just don't know. Their higher self haven't been tapped into. It haven't been developed. It haven't been discovered, right? A lot of times it's just about exposure, being exposed to this information, being exposed to this new way of thinking, this more positive way of thinking. Drive the chariot of the mind. When you begin to sort out the multiple voices in your head, the level of conflict may surprise you. It doesn't make sense. Our mind should work in our own best interests. Why would we stand in our own way, right? The complication is that we are weighing input from different sources. Our five senses telling us what appeals in the moment, our memories, recalling what we have experienced in the past, and our intellects synthesizing and evaluating the best choice for the long term. Beyond the parent-child model, the monk teachings have another analogy for the competing voices in our heads. In the Upanishads, the working of the mind is compared to a chariot being driven by 5 horses. In this analogy, the chariot is the body, the horses are the 5 senses, the reins are the mind, and the charioteer is the intellect. Sure, this description of the mind is more complicated, but bear with me. Okay? Let me show y'all this real quick so it makes sense though. So look at this little picture that he made. Just so it make a little more sense. Okay. All right. So he said, in the untrained state, the charioteer, which is the person driving, right? The intellect is asleep on the job. So just imagine the person that's supposed to be controlling these horses or driving the car, you falling asleep at the wheel, right? Okay, so the intellect is asleep on the job. So the horses, the senses, have control of the reins or the mind and lead the body wherever they please. Horses left to their own devices react to what's around them. They see a tasting looking shrub, they bend to eat it. Something startles them, they spook. In the same way, our senses are activated in the moment by food, money, sex, power, influence, etc. If the horses are in control, the chariot veers off the road in the direction of temporary pleasure and instant gratification. In the trained state, the charioteer, the intellect, is awake, aware, and attentive, not allowing the horses to lead the way. Okay? In the trained state, the charioteer is awake, aware, and attentive, not allowing the horses to lead the way. The charioteer uses the reins of the mind to carefully steer the chariot along the correct route, right? And that comes with making sacrifices, right? You know, you might want to go off course because you want that instant gratification, right? But in the long run, that's just short-term pleasure, right? We want long-term growth, long-term everything. Master the senses, okay? Think about those 5 unruly horses harnessed to the chariot of a lazy driver, snorting and tossing their heads impatiently. Remember that they represent the 5 senses, always our first point of contact with the external. The senses are responsible for our desires and attachments, and they pull us in the direction of impulsivity, passion, and pleasure, destabilizing the mind. Monks calm the senses in order to calm the mind. Okay? As Pema Chodron says, you are the sky. Everything else, it's just the weather. That's nice. You are the sky. Everything else is just the weather. Shaolin monks are a wonderful example of how we can train our minds to subdue the senses. Note, I never lived or trained as a Shaolin monk, although I might want to try. The Shaolin Temple in China dates back more than 1,500 years, and Shaolin monks regularly demonstrate the impossible. They balance on the blade of a sword, break bricks with their heads, and lie on beds of nails and blades without apparent effort or injury. It seems like magic, but the Shaolin monks actually push their limits through rigorous physical and mental regimes. Children may begin to study at the Shaolin monastery as early as age 3. They spend long days in training and meditation. Through breathing techniques and Qigong, an ancient healing technique, the monks develop the ability to accomplish superhuman feats of strength and to endure uncomfortable situations, from attack to injury. By cultivating their inner calm, they can ward off mental, physical, and emotional stress. It's not only the Shaolin monks who've demonstrated incredible sensory control. Researchers took a different group of monks, along with people who never meditated, and secured a thermal stimulator to their wrists, a device designed to induce pain through intense heat. The plate warms slowly, then stays at maximum heat for 10 seconds before cooling. During the experiment, as soon as the plate began to heat, the pain matrix in the non-monks' brains started firing like crazy, as if the plate were already at maximum heat. Researchers call this anticipatory anxiety, and the monks showed none of it, right? Anticipatory anxiety. How many of y'all have that, right? I know I was at work yesterday and I had a patient who was diagnosed with severe anxiety, right? Because and I don't understand, because you are fearful of things that don't really exist, right? You are allowing false evidence to appear real, and it's causing you all of this internal trauma, right? That's anticipatory anxiety. Something that hasn't even happened yet, it might not happen. Okay. So researchers call this anticipatory anxiety, and the monks showed none of it. Instead, as the plate heated, their brain activity remained pretty much the same. When the plate reached full heat, activity in the monk's brain spiked, but only in areas that registered the physical sensations of pain. You see, for most of us, pain is a twofold sensation. We feel some of it physically and some of it emotionally. For the monks, the heat was painful, but they didn't assign negative feelings to the experience. They felt no emotional pain. Their brains also recovered from the physical pain faster than the non-meditators. This is a remarkable level of sensory control, more than most of us are committed to developing. But do think about your senses as paths to the mind, okay? Think about your senses as paths to the mind. Most of our lives are governed by what we see, hear, smell, touch, and taste. If you smell your favorite dessert, you want to eat it. If you see a photo of a beach, you start daydreaming about vacation. You hear a certain phrase and flash to the person who used to say it all the time. The monkey mind is reactive, but the monk mind is proactive. Let's say that whenever you go on YouTube to watch one video, you end up going down a rabbit hole. You drift from a cute animal video to a shark attack compilation, and before you know it, you're watching Sean Evans eating hot sauce with a celebrity guest. Senses recklessly transport our minds away from where we want them to be. Don't tease your own senses. Don't set yourself up to fail. A monk doesn't spend time in a strip club. We want to minimize the mind's reactive tendencies, and the easiest way to do that is for the intellect to proactively steer the senses away from stimuli that can make the mind react in ways that are hard to control. Okay? It's up to the intellect to know when you're vulnerable and to tighten the reins, right? Protecting your energy. That's basically what he's saying here. It's up to the intellect to know when you're vulnerable and to tighten the reins, protect your energy. Just as a charioteer does when going through a field of tasty grass. Any sensory input can trigger emotions. A tempting or upsetting or sad reminder that lures those wild horses off the charioteer's chosen path. Social media might suck away time you wanted to spend otherwise. A photo might remind you of a lost friend in a moment when you don't have time for grief. An ex's sweatshirt might re-break your heart. Within reason, I recommend removing unwanted sensory triggers from your home or deleting the apps. As you do, visualize yourself removing them from your mind. You can do the same thing when you hit an unwanted mental trigger. A word that you used to hear from a parent, a song from your past. Visualize yourself removing that from your life as you would a physical object. When you remove those mental and physical triggers, you can stop giving in to them, right? They have no control over you. They have no power over you. They have no way to enter your mind because they can't get to your senses, right? If you can't see the shirt, then you can't feel the feeling of missing your ex or lonely, right? So if you remove it, you won't see it. And if you won't see it, what they say, out of sight, out of mind, right? Needless to say, we can never remove all senses and all triggers, nor would we want to. Our goal is not to silence the mind or even to steal it. We want to figure out the meaning of a thought. That's what helps us let go, okay? Figure out the meaning of the thoughts. But temporarily, while we're strengthening our relationship with our minds, we can take steps to avoid triggering places and people by adjusting what we see, listen to, read, and absorb. Okay? From a monk's perspective, the greatest power is self-control. To train the mind and energy to focus on your dharma. Okay? Ideally, you can navigate anything that seems tough, challenging, or fun with the same balance and equanimity without being too excited in pleasure or too depressed by pain, right? So I always say this too, because I feel like this is true. We were not taught how to control ourselves, but we do spend a lot of time, energy, and effort into trying to control other things or other people, right? While in the meantime, we are like all over the place. So self-control is first. Self-discipline is first. Knowing what makes you tick, what you like, what you want, what you love is first. From a monk's perspective, the greatest, I just read that. Ordinarily, our brains turn down the volume on repeated input. But when we train our minds, we build the ability to focus on what we want, regardless of distractions. Meditation is an important tool that allows us to regulate sensory input. But we can also train the mind by building the relationship between the child and the adult mind. When a parent says, clean your room, and the child doesn't, that's like your monk mind saying, change your course, and the monkey mind saying, no thanks, I'd rather listen to loud music on my headphones. Okay? If the parent gets angry at the child and says, I told you to clean your room, why haven't you done it yet? The child retreats further. Eventually, the child may follow orders, but the exchange hasn't built a connection or a dialogue. The more a frustrated parent and petulant child do battle, the more alienated from each other they feel. When you are fighting an internal battle, your monkey mind is an adversary. View it as a collaborator, and you can move from battle to bond, from rejected enemy to trusted friend. Okay? He said, view it as a collaborator, right? And you can move from battle to bond, from rejected enemy to trusted friend. A bond has its own challenges. There can still be disagreement, but at least all parties want the same outcome. In order to reach such a collaboration, our intellect must pay closer attention to the automatic reactive patterns of the mind, otherwise known as the subconscious. Okay? So the conscious mind, the subconscious mind. We read and learned all about that in The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy, which was one of the books we read. But that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. Okay, so I am going to stop it here. If you took value from what we read today, drop me a 333 in the chat. Drop me a 333 in the chat if you took some value from this. And we are going to get started on page 155 tomorrow, right? And it's talking about the stubborn subconscious, right? Our stubborn subconscious, and our ego mind is our conscious mind, our ego mind wants to protect us, right? But sometimes it can protect us to our downfall, right? It's not a benefit to us, right? We might need to go through some of the challenges that we have. Right? Thank you. You too. Thank you. We might need to go through some of the challenges that we have. We might need to experience these things because you have to go through things to know, right? To really appreciate and value certain things when you get them. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, y'all, that's it for today. Have a good day. We had a lot of people pop in today. Let me wave at them. Hey, everybody that popped in here today. I'm grateful. All right, family. So let's go ahead and stop it here. I'm so super grateful for y'all. Thank y'all for being here with me this morning. Thank you for your attention, your time, your energy, and your effort. I definitely appreciate the exchange. Y'all have a super, super blessed and fantastic day today. Protect your energy, protect your peace, be a light, be responsible for your energetic output, be responsible for your karma, plant seeds that are going to blossom into wonderful new things, new ideas, new beginnings, new everything. Just make sure you are planting positive seeds, right? Pulling out your weeds, not allowing people to drain you of all you've been working so hard for, all of the wonderful changes you've been making within yourself. Okay. So I am your sister in love. I am your sister in light. I appreciate y'all, and I will see y'all in the morning. All right. Do you see it? See y'all in the morning. Let's go.